We are project number 10, and today we are discussing the impact of remote work and mental health. Now, the problem domain was chosen for this project was the area of application, and which is remote work and its impact on mental health. The problem statement that we came up with is to investigate whether remote work improves mental health compared to office-based work. Now, our null hypothesis is that people working remotely do, in fact, experience better mental health conditions. Now, since the proposal, we have had no significant changes that we made to our problem statement, and the focus remains on analyzing mental health outcomes across work settings. Overview of the solution. First, the goal was set to assess and compare mental health outcomes based on work location, and specific aims were to analyze stress, productivity, and satisfaction metrics, and to determine if remote work offers better mental health advantages. Now, the data descriptions are survey data on the demographics, job role, stress level, physical activity, and mental health. For our data and variable selections, the variables that we went with for demographics is age and gender. Work-related variables would be job role, work location, and health metrics are stress level and mental health conditions that are pre-existing. Now, the selection rationale is variables chosen based on relevance to mental health outcomes. Now we focus on attributes influencing stress, productivity, and satisfaction.
So for our model selection, for the design that we went with our project, we went with a decision tree and linear regression. We also split the data using holdout method for the training data and test validation. And then for a model performance comparison, the performance evaluated through metrics such as accuracy, recall, and F1 score. So this is the data distribution between our hybrid on-site and remote, and it's roughly about a 33% across the board, with remote workers being a little bit more. And then this is the distribution between the stress levels and the gender in the company, and it's roughly about the same thing with stress level a third all the way across the board, and with the gender it's about uh 25% all the way across the board. And then for the age group, there is a very different distribution. How there is more people in the 30 to 60 range that's around the same age group, and then with less of them being through 60 from 60 to 70 years old, and a little bit less from 20 to 30. And with mental health conditions, this is the distribution between anxiety, burnout, and depression. And so for our correlation analysis, we used a heat map, and this displayed correlation matrix. It was to examine relationships between numerical variables. Some of the findings identified a strong and weak correlations among variables such as stress level and physical activity. Some insights is variables with high correlations were flagged for further analysis, as these could impact the choice of model features or require dimensionality reduction. And this is our heat map correlation.
Now, moving on to the hypothesis testing part of the project. Our objective here is to show that the three different levels of stress are directly correlated with the three different work locations. Now, we can do this by conducting a chi-square test to show the association between the two categorical variables. We firstly selected a alpha value of 0.05. And using the chi-square test, we obtained a p-value, and by comparing the p-value to the set alpha value, we can indicate whether the two variables are closely related or not. Now, the results of the chi-square test are as shown. We obtained a chi-square statistic of about 1.92 and a p-value of roughly 0.75. And the expected frequencies for the different stress levels and the different work locations are as shown here. And since the p-value is significantly greater than the alpha value, we can state that we failed to reject the null hypothesis, indicating that there is an association between the work location and the stress level. Now, we have formulated two hypothesis statements here. The first one states that remote workers have higher job satisfaction than online workers. And the null hypothesis for this would be that remote and on-site workers have the same level of satisfaction. Whereas the alternative hypothesis states as remote workers have higher satisfaction than on-site workers. The second hypothesis statement states that mental health condition is independent of the job role. The null hypothesis for this one states as remote on-site workers have the same level of satisfaction, whereas the alternative hypothesis for this one states that remote workers have the same level of satisfaction.
We performed comparative analysis to explore the relationship between difference between the key attributes and data sets, identifying trends that inform the model building. Some of the key comparisons we worked on is stress level by job role. And also one more key comparison is job satisfaction by work location. Noted increased satisfaction in remote working settings highlights benefits of flexibility and etc. Findings we found were individuals working longer hours, specifically between 31 to 40 and 51 to 60 hours, tend to experience higher stress levels. Here, we found that the most employees working remotely or in hybrid setup experience high stress levels. Here, the comparison between company supports for remote work versus stress levels. Regardless of company's support level for remote work rated from 1 to 5 employees, continue to experience high stress levels. Here, the work location versus work-life balance. Here we can see that on-site work location and remote work location are finding it more difficult to get work-life balance. Conclusion. Here we can conclude that work hours. More work means more stress. So balance. Remote work challenges are isolation and work-life blur are tough. Regular check-ins or virtual meetups could make a difference. Support for remote work is good, but it may need to be stronger to truly reduce the stress. Analysis of the result. The classification report here suggests that our model has a precision of 0.63 for a class 0, means 63% of the model prediction for this class were correct, while 0.69 for class 1 suggests that 69% accuracy in identifying this class. Recall reflects the model ability to capture all the relevant instances of each class. A recall of 0.73 for class 0 indicates 73% of true pursuits for this class were correctly identified, while 0.59 of class 1 means the model captured 15% of true positives in this class. Balances the precision recall giving combined measure of accuracy. The F1 score of 0.68 for class 0 and 0.6 for class 1 suggests that model performs moderately well for each class with a macro average around 0.6. So in conclusion, the total accuracy of this model is 0.65, that is 65%. Here is a timeline of how we worked on the project. Thank you.